welcome back to the Breaker Bros. And tonight we're going to practice our first mock draft of the year. So interesting to see how this goes from now until the draft actually starts, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of changes. I know right now, I think they have just one quarterback going in the top 10, but I feel like as it gets closer to draft time, I feel like that could probably change. Even though I'm not really too sure about the QB prospects coming into this year, but I just feel like there's too many teams in the top 10 that need a quarterback that may have to try to do something. So whether they trade down and stay in the top 10 and take a quarterback, or maybe just stay where they're at, I still get a sense that they're going to take another quarterback besides the one. I mean, obviously there's that Fernando guy, which I think he pretty much solidified the number one overall pick, I believe, unless for whatever reason. Wait, who's got the number one pick?
The Raiders, I think.
Okay, unless for whatever reason they trade down.
Raiders.
But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the Raiders, Jets, Cardinals.
I mean, like Davis was at the draft or at the national championship game. Like he saw Mendoza run in for that touchdown. Like I feel like he was in that end zone.
Yeah, and I feel like, throughout the college playoffs, I think he really solidified being the number one overall pick. So we know there's at least going to be one. And which for me, or I guess really for the Bengals, the more quarterbacks that are taken high, better for the Bengals.
Yeah, it was a big tough break for the Bengals when Moore went back to Oregon, because I feel like he would have been a top 10 pick. I don't know if Ty Simpson is going to get high enough to be a top 10 pick, but I mean, you never know.
Like, when do you officially have to declare for the draft? Is there like a time limit?
Well, I mean, there's two ways to answer that, right? Like, I think there was or is, but like with the way college football's going, like their rules are kind of all over the place. So you never know. I mean, is there anything stopping, like, say, Ty Simpson thinks he's going to be a top 10 pick if he gets picked like 21st? Can he just like say, nah, I'm not going to go to the NFL and just go back to college? Could he, even if that's against their rules, could he sue and find a team? Who knows? But I feel like there is like an official timeline, and I don't think like any of these guys are in danger of coming out of it. But then again, right, this Chambliss guy, he's going back to college. He just got a restraining order, so he's eligible to go back to Ole Miss for the time being. So I don't know if he gets drafted or not, right? So it's weird.
Well, I mean, if you think back, when was this, like 5 or 6 years ago? The dude that Mac Jones, like, he was one of those picks that everyone thought would be later in the first round. And then somehow, like within a couple of weeks of the draft, he like skyrocketed all the way into the top 10. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I wonder if we'll have another.
Ty Simpson must believe he's going to get picked high, because like Miami threw like the story or the news is that, like, I guess it's not really news, but what has happened since the last time we talked is that Miami tried to get him before they tried to get the guy from Duke. So they offered him like that big money, like $5-6 million to play one more year, and he turned it down. So, I mean, his reasoning was like he just wanted to be a guy that always played for Alabama, and he couldn't see himself playing for another team. But I wonder how much of that is that he was confident that he was going to get picked pretty high in the NFL draft was also part of, like, his reasoning for coming out. But yeah, I mean, I could see him being a top 10 guy. I mean, he played really well at Alabama, but you have the 6'2", like guys like Mendoza are like, you want, like, for a top 10 NFL quarterback, you want to see guys like 6'5",
What about that Drew? Is it Aller?
Drew Aller?
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, I mean, he's like a prototypical NFL quarterback. He just hasn't really played well, and then he got hurt this season. So who knows how much better he could have made his draft stock. I mean, like the whole Penn State team this year was kind of a they fell well short of expectations. It was like the biggest implosion ever, right? Like they were supposed to be in the hunt for the national championship, and they ended up firing their coach in the middle of the season. So the wheels really fell off for them. But yeah, I mean, Aller's a guy that in a parallel universe, if Penn State's season didn't blow up, he probably could have been a top 10 pick.
Well, I think really with him, it just depends on like how healthy he's going to be going into next year. Like if you feel like he's going to miss any time, obviously that's going to hurt his draft stock. But if he's like healthy by the season starts and, you know, he has a good, and I don't even know if he can go to the combine or not, if he's healthy or not, or enough. I wonder if he could be one of those people that can kind of skyrocket a little bit, but I guess that would be a huge jump going from, I guess they have him going in the 4th or 5th round to top 10. That would be huge. I guess Ty Simpson would be the most likely candidate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, right. Well, and the other thing, this is PFF's rankings, right? I mean, I think as you get closer to the draft, you start to get a sense more for what NFL teams are thinking. You know, so they might have completely different grades on him than PFF, but yeah, I don't know. I still think this is going to be a weird quarterback class. Like I feel like some of these guys, like, you know, I mean, one, I thought Chambliss was going to come out, but they have him as like a high 3rd round pick. But like Nussmeier was supposed to be like one of the best quarterbacks this year. And then, you know, Carson Beck is kind of a, you know, interesting case. And then Klubnik was supposed to be really good this year. So like one of these guys, I could see like, you know, one of these 4th or 5th round type graded guys ended up being a pretty good quarterback. But I don't know. I think there's something to like the fact that there's a tournament now and most of the teams are in it. You kind of get to see like these guys play. So sort of like the NCAA tournament, like in basketball, where you see some guys kind of play well in that pressure and against the good teams, or the guys that end up being pretty good NBA players. Like I feel like, you know, maybe like it's going to be a little bit easier to draft guys now because you're going to have a lot more, you know, good team versus good team kind of high stakes games where, you know, teams are going to be really like game planning against each other, and it's, you know, like neutral site kind of stuff. And guys are just going to start being older because of all the money in college football. So this is going to be an interesting few years of transition.
Did you watch any of the Super Bowl?
No, I did not. Did you?
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think outside of some of the Bills games in the playoffs, because, you know, that was my whole thing. With Josh Allen, like there shouldn't have been no excuses this year of getting into the Super Bowl. So I was kind of keeping up with that. And then, but no, I did watch a little bit of the Super Bowl, and I thought, man, this feels weird because didn't really feel like either of the quarterbacks played that well. Really propelled their teams. It seemed like it was more of a defensive game. It really felt like one of those games where, I don't know, you know, like whenever they created the forward pass in the NFL and like teams were trying to figure that out, that's what that game felt like. It was like there was no real big plays. I'm pretty sure the running back for the Seahawks got the MVP, so that should tell you the type of game it was. It was more of a defensive game, and I think Drake May got sacked like 7 times. So like he was like, my joke with that was like I felt like he was seeing ghosts that game because he did not look good at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, credit to the Seahawks. It looks like they have an amazing defense. It looks like maybe, and you may disagree with this, but it feels like the Ravens got rid of the wrong guy. They should have kept their defensive coordinator, made him the head coach, because man, he made a big difference for the Seahawks. I felt like,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was just interesting. It just felt like not a game that I guess most people were expecting, especially for the Super Bowl, because I think the trend for a while now is that most Super Bowl games have been a bit more high scoring, faster pace, and it's just really a defensive game. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a sign of the league kind of catching up to the offenses, and but I felt like both defenses in the Super Bowl played pretty well. It was just not much going on the offensive side outside of the Seahawks running it really well, but like consistently throughout the game. But I didn't really watch all of it completely. It just seemed kind of boring to me for me being a neutral, fan and not really caring which way it goes. Like I had a feeling that the Seahawks would win, but yeah, I didn't think the game would look like the way it did because it felt like overall the Seahawks really dominated. Mainly because their defense played really well, and it just didn't seem like the Patriots could really stop them from running either. So, but yeah, I guess what are you thinking about the 10th pick? Like, I think I pretty much know what you want, but
I think Caleb Downs is the guy that I want to pick. I think that they should, to me, that's like you get rid of your worst player on defense and then you upgrade to someone who has the potential to be like an all-pro player at that position. I think that's a good way to improve the overall defense.
He seems like a can't miss player, and maybe I should knock on wood. And I mean, if he's the player that we think he is, it's hard to believe he'll be there at 10. But
I mean, 10 is a good spot for a safety. I mean, like there have been a few times where safety's been picked like 4, 5, 6, but 10 is not a bad spot for him. But you never know.
Yeah, I've seen a few mocks for the Bengals, and there's been quite a few people already taking the Bengals to get a cornerback. And I think it's the guy. I think he's out of Tennessee, or maybe it's Clemson. I feel like it's one of the orange teams. But he was hurt as well. But I mean, prospect-wise, it seems like he has all the ability in the world. And the more I
don't like the idea of Bengals picking a hurt player. They do not do well.
I'm right there with you, but it also makes sense. I mean, the Bengals are going to need another starting quality cornerback.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I mean, you guys are not allowed to pick hurt players. That's just Bengals do not do well with that.
But I'm right there with you. I think Caleb Downs, if you're looking at overall value, I feel like he makes a lot of sense because he's obviously going to be your day one starter. I feel like he tackles really well. Like he plays aggressive. He could do many different things, whether he's in coverage or if you want to blitz him. I feel like he can provide so many options that they'll probably need back in on the defense. And
some of my Ohio State friends talk about how he's like a really like a team leader. He's one of the hardest working guys on the team. It just seems like the kind of guy that you could build the core of a young defense around.
He seems like a football player, like someone
that's what they need. They need a leader.
Football, likes to get dirty. He likes to be there, a leader.
Right.
This makes so much sense. So I'm hoping, because I think and it's not just the Bengals. I think it's pretty much a trend throughout the league for most teams is that it's hard to pick a safety that high just based off of value. When you're talking about like contracts and it's extending them, it's just like kind of want to pick more of a premium position, whether it's like corner, defensive end, receiver, quarterback.
Yeah.
Especially in the top 10.
Yeah. That unless you're convinced he's a special player. I mean, we were texting about this. Like, I mean, Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed. I mean,
yeah. Or even Kyle Hamilton. I mean,
right. Those guys were all worth the first round pick. I mean, those guys were anchors on really good defenses for over a decade.
Well, I want to say
maybe not so much for Hamilton yet, but I mean he was
top 10 talent, but I think he slipped to like the 15th or 16th, and the Ravens picked him up. I mean, look at him now. I mean, I don't think any
Yeah, I
twice.
remember he ran a little slow. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't like him. I didn't think that he would be as good of a player as he turned out to be. But um, I
well,
guess he
that's
makes
how
up for that.
I feel about Downs is that he's going to give you the same type of value that Kyle Hamilton does because he can just do multiple, like many different things on the field.
Right.
You
And then
just
you
can't
got to ask, is Kyle Hamilton, would he be worth the 10th pick? Probably.
easily, without a doubt. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like if you were to put him in this year's draft, knowing what you know, I mean, he easily goes in the top 10. Like you just don't
Hmm.
you don't think about it. But I guess outside of Downs, which I think is a consensus for us, would you be okay with a defensive end, a defensive tackle?
I mean, I think that those make sense. It would be sad if they picked an end or a tackle, but it'd be more of an admission that they did not draft well in previous years because you look at the number of picks that they put at those positions. I mean, they drafted a lot of defensive tackles one year, right? They drafted 2 in 1 year, second and third round pick, and
Well, I
then
think if you
they
can
have
get a
2
player like
first round ends, right?
Well, Bane, I mean, he would make a lot of sense to me, but I think really the tell would be because they're going to have to address this before they get to the draft is like, are they going to tag Hendrickson? Maybe do a tag and trade or just tag him and try to keep him one more year, kick the can down the road. Or
Yeah,
do
I
they
mean
bring in
we'll have to do a deep dive on that, look at the cap and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I could see him coming back under multiple scenarios. I could see it. I
I
mean,
just
I could
don't
see him tagging them, or I could see like maybe there's injury concerns, in which case that's what the Bengals like. They like getting guys on the cheap, and if he's hurt and nobody wants to give him a big long deal, he might have to come back.
Well, I think the rumor mill is that the Colts are going to try to pursue him pretty hard. So I
Hmm.
think it would probably be the indicator on like how much a team is willing to spend on him.
Yeah.
But the Bengals still have the leverage, I feel like, because if you feel like if a team is going to go out their way to give him all that money, then you tag him, and then he's got some trade value. I mean, obviously, you would have to do it before the draft, but I still think they hold the cards. But if they don't really address and have a for sure starter, like opposite of oh my god, I can't think of his name, but I mean, he really came on. I would say like the last 8 or 9 weeks of the year. Our other defensive end that we drafted, I think 31st
Yeah,
from
from
Clemson.
Clemson.
Yeah. Why can I not think of his name? I mean, I mean, he looked like the guy that they thought he was going to be, late in last year or this previous year. And I mean, he looks like he could be a pretty good starter. And it's just like, oh, wow. What do you know when you start playing your younger guys and actually develop them? They're going to start playing to their ability. And, I'm still high on Shamar. I feel like he was kind of put in a tough position to begin with, and I think he had to play through a lot of injuries. But after he had his little mini holdout and he was making noise in training camp, it seemed like he was being disruptive. And then it felt like the first game and a half, like he was pancaking people and he was being pretty much disruptive. And then he got hurt. I felt like he never really recovered from that. I think he tried to come
Yeah,
back.
I always feel like it's bad luck when, or not bad luck. I just feel like when guys don't go through the full training camp, they just seem to be more likely to get hurt during the season. So it's like you hate to see like your first round pick miss that camp time, especially when like the knock on him was that he was kind of raw and needed development, and then he misses out on all those preseason reps, and then gets hurt. I mean, I think there's something to like the guys have to like build up to like that full speed and that full contact. So, but yeah, I mean, I kind of like their defensive line. Like I like where they're going with it. But I mean, if you see a guy that can play and you think he's got, you know, you can pencil him in day one as a starter, then yeah, I mean, I would lean more towards the interior than a defensive end. But like, if one of these top ends, like if Bain is there at 10, I don't see how you can not take him. Defensive edge rushers are just so valuable.
Yeah, because that kind of goes back to what I was saying is like if you don't add that one piece, because I mean, Bengals still have Stewart, they still have Miles Murphy, but I don't know if they bring back Osai, or do they go for like another Trey Hendrickson? When they picked him off that offseason, where you get a guy that has a lot of potential and you give him a significant pay increase from what he had and make him more of like a full-time starter. They can go that route. But if they don't address that before the draft, I think it's kind of a tell that they're probably going to go defensive end. Because I mean, at that point, I mean, it would make sense to put a pick a defensive end at 10. Because it feels like there's going to be a quality defensive end, hopefully safety, corner, and defensive tackle at 10. So it's more or less pick your poison. And or maybe they do go corner because that might be the best value, maybe outside of a defensive end, if it's not the guy that you're looking for. Because I feel like Bain at 10 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, though. Like when you said defensive line. So I think defensive interior is worth that. Defensive end's worth that. If you're going positional value, then definitely corner. Those guys get paid a lot. I mean, I think like edge rushers get paid a little bit more than corners, but like,
yeah,
I mean, the Bengals are like, they need so much help on the defensive side that, to me, my focus would be more who's a day one starter, who's the one that can improve the defense the most at that first pick, right?
Yeah, and to go back to what you were saying about Downs, I think the edge that he has, I mean, because talent-wise, I feel like they're all going to be up there at 10, is that leadership quality. Like you bring in that guy. Because when Von Bell first came to the Bengals, not the second time around, like that's what he provided. He had that leadership. And you bring in a guy that has that, and maybe they miss that too a little bit with Hendrickson not being on the field. And
I mean, they missed lots of things with Hendrickson not being on the field.
Yeah. I mean, but I feel like, especially not this past year, but the year before that, Hendrickson, you could tell like he had like a lot of leadership on the field, and he was trying to get people after it. And they obviously fell short that year as well. But I think to get a guy like Downs at 10 and to have that secured the next 4 years at least, 5, if he plays really well, for sure, then it's like, it seems like a no-brainer to us, at least, right? If Downs is there, like you can't mess that up. Like the worst thing I think.
I mean, we are talking about the Bengals. I feel like they're like, yeah, we can mess it up. Watch us.
If Downs is there and somehow they pick Jeremiah Love, like I think that would be the world-class meltdown.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. I mean, I would hate that for us as fans, but then like it would be kind of interesting to see. All right, do you wanna mock this out now?
Yeah, let's get it started.
Okay, so we'll do Bengals. Let's do 7 rounds. We'll go fast and not turbo.
Oh, that reminds me. You get the draft music.
Okay. Okay. Engaged. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. We're gonna do no trades, right?
Yeah. No trades.
Okay. Wow.
Pretty sure I saw Downs go, right?
Yeah. So we got.
Wow, he went fourth.
Fourth. Love gone. Reese gone. Carnell Tate gone. Okay. Wow.
I think this is like the worst case scenario for us right now.
Yeah.
Because, well, not necessarily, because I don't know. I think, at least what I could see from Bengals Twitter, people are kind of on the fence with Woods, Peter Woods. Seems like you either love him or hate him. There's like no in between.
Yeah.
But I think if the board fell this way,
Mm-hmm.
I know it seems kind of crazy, but I wouldn't even like the tackle even seems interesting to me. But I think for me, I mean, obviously McCoy, if you think he's going to come back, no worries about the injury.
Mm-hmm.
You can get really talented corner that never you can have enough. You can never have enough corners. It feels like or defensive ends on your team. Um, However, I just feel like longevity. I feel like Peter Woods makes the most sense here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what you're thinking with how the board looks here.
Yeah. I like getting the interior guy. So let's just do that.
Okay. Play alongside Murphy,
Yeah.
Clemson guys. Ooh, okay. I've heard a lot of hype for this Dylan. Was it Thieneman?
Thieneman?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm hearing that he could sneak in the first round, like late in the first round, or maybe he's just like a solid second round pick, especially was that at 42?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like he was considered a first rounder at the beginning of the season, and then he's kind of come back around.
Who's the? I guess we still need to look at defensive ends, maybe even another second round linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, there's a tackle. Tied in. What about tied in? You think tied in another?
How about no?
No, you don't think a tight end would be worth the second round pick?
Not for the Bengals. They never throw it to them.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, yeah. For other teams, tight ends are great, but like if you're not gonna throw to them, you might as well not draft them high.
Hey, I still believe in Eric All. I really hope he comes back fully healthy this year.
Yeah.
And because I mean, before he got hurt, he looked like a really, really solid pick. I'm sure part of the reason why he fell as far as he did in the draft was obviously he got hurt, has an injury history. But the way he was playing, I mean, he was playing well above where he got picked, which I think was in the 4th or maybe 5th round. But he made a big difference for the Bengals because they could actually disguise things. Because you can keep Eric All in, whenever, because he can catch, he can block. It was just like the biggest tell for the Bengals for a while. It's like, oh, Sample's in. It's going to be a run. And pretty much all the other tight ends was going to be a pass. Like it was just like so obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think AJ Halsey.
Let's see. Oh, look, Bengals. Seems like.
Yeah. But I kind of like the idea of picking the safety here.
What's his tackling grade? Like, I feel like.
Oops. There it is. Run defense, 76. Coverage, 88.6. Let's see if this guy's better against the run. Oh, so this guy's just a little bit better in pass coverage. I mean, the thing about the Bengals is they were bad at both.
Yeah.
So,
but I think in a way, it's going to pair up with Battle better if they're better at coverage, because I feel like Battle can play up a little bit more. I mean, obviously most people on the Bengals defense last year, it didn't seem like they were a sure tackler, but at times Battle brought the wood and there's times he whiffed. So I think in terms of finding someone that's will play well opposite of Battle, I think Dylan, and this is just going off of like what I've seen off of Twitter, haven't really looked at any of the prospects, in full depth or anything, or mainly the ones I've been looking at are the ones that are potentially going to get picked at 10 for the Bengals.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I like Dylan or maybe even AJ, but I think if you can get a quality safety the second round, I don't see why. I feel like for the Bengals, that's probably where the best value is going to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to draft the higher ranked player, so I get a higher grade. So,
Okay, Dylan, it is.
Dylan, welcome to the squad.
Earned your
Brett
stripes.
draft.
I don't know. They're comparing that Dylan guy to the guy from the Vikings. I think he just retired.
Mhm.
That's played for them for a while.
Wow, they have Jake Golday going in the second round. Nice.
Wow. Okay.
Dante Corleone they got going in the second round too. Wow.
Wow, that would have been a nice third round pick.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, we already picked a defensive tackle. So
Yeah.
center could be interesting actually.
Yeah. We got Sam Hecht. Or Jake Slaughter. It's a better name.
Now, would you take a tight end in the third round? Or is that still too high for you for the Bengals?
Yes.
What about receiver?
Are you trolling me? Another
No.
third round receiver?
Oh.
I don't know. As long as there's no character concerns.
Yeah, I think that's it goes without saying. I don't think they're gonna cross that bridge anytime soon. I think they were just having a really good streak with the players that they were picking for the receiver that they felt like they could go out on a limb. But I don't think they're gonna make that same mistake twice. Or at least I hope not. Because to kind of go back to what you were talking about, right? Or at least I think you were talking about this last year. Maybe we want that third receiver, outside of Chase and Higgins. Like, can he be the slot guy and the returner? Like, if you can get a guy that can actually solidify both really well, then yeah, I think they might be worth the third round pick at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, there's just like so many holes they got to fill on the defensive side that maybe you take a corner here. Maybe you go linebacker here.
Mm-hmm.
But center is also interesting. Especially, I feel like from Kansas State, right? Because I feel like they have defensive interior linemen. Now, with that said, I really do hope they bring back Reisner. Like, I really like they. That should be like a no-brainer. Like re-sign.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to start thinking about your future too. So, like, I don't know how high they are on Matt Lee. I feel like they must be somewhat high on him because, they picked up the Ohio State center that got hurt.
Yeah, McLaughlin, right? I think he still was on the practice squad at the end of the
he got
year.
picked off. So
he did?
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that I don't think there must have still been some type of concern on the Bengals side because I feel like they didn't give him like one of those like future contracts. And I think that's why he got picked off. Or maybe he didn't sign it because he got a better deal somewhere else. I don't know if that's like a thing. But nonetheless, he's not there anymore. So we don't have that option, but they could still be pretty high on Matt Lee. I don't know. I feel like in the third round, I mean, obviously, I want it to be a little bit more defensive heavy draft because that's where most of the holes are.
Mm-hmm.
But center, I feel like could make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like the Bengals. I mean, we're just kind of winging it. I don't know if we're doing like what we think, or I guess it's not what we think. We're just kind of seeing what the board looks like. I feel like the Bengals would not draft a center in the third round because they re-signed their center, and I don't see them spending that high of a pick on a backup. So I think like corner makes sense here. Wide receiver.
I was even thinking linebacker, but it doesn't look like
Yeah, we have to go reach pretty far to get a linebacker.
at 85. I mean, that's not too bad. But yeah, I think based off of how the board is
Mm-hmm.
and what the needs are, I think, yeah, you kind of have to take the best available corner.
Okay. So since we don't know who that is, let's just go with their best available corner.
And he's a Georgia guy. I mean, I feel like the Bengals has had a lot of luck with the Georgia guys, so why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
And to be fair, I don't think the corner is as big of a need because it feels like they're probably going to extend TJ Turner. I mean, that would make a lot of sense at this point. And they still have, oh my God, what's his face? He initially started with safety. Actually, I have it right here. They still have Dax Hill. And he played pretty solid on the outside, actually. So, but the only thing is that he's on his 5th year, plays really well. He might be, it'll be hard to extend 2, starter quality corners that, that could get kind of pricey. So, but yeah, I think going corner in the 3rd round, especially with how the draft has been going, can make a lot of sense. But I do feel like at some point they will need to draft a receiver because they'll need to have 6 going into the year. Let's see.
Yeah, it seems like there are a lot of safeties in this draft. So I almost feel like,
I mean, they could double dip at safety. I mean, there's potential. I mean,
it's almost making me regret taking a safety in the 2nd round because it's like, oh wow, they got all kinds of safeties in this. What are we in the 4th round?
Yeah,
and there were safeties in the 3rd round. So it seems like it's a pretty deep draft for safety. So I don't know. Do you take an edge rusher or a defensive interior guy?
I think they would go
Parker, have him play guard.
It's always a possibility. That seems like a very Bengals thing to do.
Yeah, we could put on our Bengals hat and do a tackle and say we like him as a guard.
I mean, in a way, that kind of makes sense, especially if you don't bring back Reisner, which, again, do it.
335. That seems pretty good.
Is there no tight ends?
Yeah, there's lots of tight ends. I keep skipping over them.
Because I think
Marlon Klein. You want a tight end? Let's get a tight end.
Well, I mean, hold on. Let's think about it because I know they just signed Tanner. I think Fant is most likely gone. But they're going to get back. Well, I think he'll be back by the beginning of the year, right? Because he missed all of last year. So you have Sample, Hudson. I think they do have that college free agent guy that they got, which, I mean, it just seems like a. Actually, I don't see him on the depth chart here, but I know he's there. I don't suspect Fant is going to be back. Oh, they have Gesicki. That's right. But I mean, he's basically a receiver.
Yeah. I don't know.
It really depends on how healthy
these defensive interior guys. I like the edge guy. Both of those.
We didn't get an edge yet, have we?
No.
Yeah, I think you go with the highest rated edge. Although historically, I don't think the Bengals have ever picked the first 4 picks as defensive guys, but after a year like last year, I don't think you can blame him. So I think edge, yeah. I feel like this should be the 5th round. Wait, I forgot they don't have a 5th round pick. They have 2 6th-round picks. So I think maybe this is where you get like the gadget guys, whether it's like receiver, that tackle / guard.
Tackle
We
guard.
have 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
So there's I see a tackle. Xavier Thomas.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
he is.
Saw an Iowa guy. He's a center.
Oh, really? I could see center here. Where you see him?
Right, Logan Jones. How was Jeff Caldwell though?
He's okay. I can't remember which guy he is because I thought he signed with another team.
Oh, so you don't even think he's going to be in the draft?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, he's 6'5" though. What? Okay, I kind of like center.
Okay,
the tackle or the best available receiver. It's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, but you don't want a tight end now. I mean, you were on a tight end last round. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really how they feel, how healthy all is. But then again, you still might want to have to take a tight end just in case something happens again, right? I mean, it may not even be all. They seem to really like to always have 4 tight ends. So I don't know. I kind of like my gut is telling me take the dude from Iowa. They always seem to have quality interior linemen and tight ends, right? So maybe that was a bad pick. I guess we could have got him with this pick.
Well, you can get a guard.
I still think they need a receiver, though. But maybe this is not the round to get the receiver because I should have another pick.
6th round, so. Got a few receivers.
– 6'5", another tall guy.
Yeah, well, tall guys.
Huh. Dane Key. Well, I didn't see any linebackers, but maybe you could take a linebacker around this time. Or maybe another defensive lineman. Seems like there should be one in the 7th round as far as linebacker.
Mm-hmm. So, well, if you're talking linebacker, you want to get your receiver now then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe you just go with the best rated receiver.
Okay. We'll draft this guy. Feel like we're sliding right into a B- draft here.
Now, do you take a backup quarterback? 7th?
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, 6'2", though. Not sure if I like that.
Well, it is the 7th round. There you go. 6'4". Is that big enough for you?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, you do want to take the quarterback?
Why not?
All right. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, let's see what we get here. I'm voting. I think we're going to get B-.
B+.
Okay. We got a. Oh, it says we should have drafted Hecht at the center.
I think we considered it, right?
Yeah, we thought about it. Oh, we got B plus. You were right.
Yeah, I think that's solid. And I'm sure a lot of this is going to change anyways because we're still.
Yeah, we don't even know who we like yet. We haven't looked at any of this stuff, but
Well,
it's
mean,
interesting.
If you just
Seems
look
like
at
it's
the last
a
couple of years, once you get those, until you officially get those official measurements, I think there's a lot of things that are going to change.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, when we get to the end of March, right? It might be comical to think that you can get like, say, like Everett in the third round. He might like run like a 4.4 or 4.3, and then he might bump into the first round. You never know.
Yeah. No, speed definitely changes everything, especially when it comes to skill positions. It is, looking at our draft though, it is kind of funny that our first 4 picks were on the defensive side, and then we just basically finished the draft with 3 offensive players. And I feel like it seems like the Bengals traditionally they draft kind of balance. Usually, like it feels like, or they never go 3, defensive players in a row or 3 offensive players in a row. I don't think. Could be wrong, but I mean, with how the year ended last year and based off of how the PFF grades are now, I don't think this is like bad draft. It's always hard to say until you actually start to hear what the teams really think and you actually hear the real ratings versus like what they project now, because again, a lot is going to change once they start doing interviews and once the combine hits, which is in March, right? I think that's probably about a month away.
Yeah, I can't remember when it is. I know I got an email about it.
Yeah, I want to say it's like towards the end of March, and then the draft is always like mid-April, I thought. So between the combine and the beginning of the draft is really when things start to solidify. And it always feels like, a couple weeks into the draft, there's always that smoke screen of, what teams are really thinking.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do. There's going to be people dropping, and there's always going to be that, 1 or 2 players that really jump up the board. Because the one I can think of last year, there was that safety out of, I think, South Carolina, like no one really talked about. And then he had like a super amazing combine where like his strength was incredible. His athleticism was like off the charts. He ran like a 4.3, I think. Everyone was like, for sure. It was like he was like a 3rd round grade. And then everyone for sure was like, oh, yeah, he's going in the 1st round somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like the linebacker class was kind of slept on too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the guy the Bengals took, he was a lot higher. But then also the Browns took a linebacker, the first pick in the 2nd round, and I don't think that there was much talk about him being like that high of a pick. I mean, I think he had a really good year. So yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of things change, but then like there's kind of like like you said, the smoke screen and everything. So you never really know what teams are thinking. But like,
can you click on? Does this show the 1st round recap?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what this is.
Okay, yeah. I think the big thing too for the Bengals are the linebackers out of Ohio State. Because I think the consensus is that it seems a little bit low for Reese. Because from everything I'm hearing, he should be the 2nd pick.
Yeah. Well, you talk about positional value, right?
Yeah. Well, he's listed as a linebacker, but I think most NFL teams
or have him as like an edge.
Yeah, because he's like really good at pass rushing. So like his strong suit's not necessarily the linebacker, but getting to the quarterback is, and I feel like it's like, I feel like that's always been like the Jets' MO is like trying to get that dynamic edge rusher one way or another. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if they don't do anything crazy as far as like going for a quarterback, um, it just seems like Mendoza, Reese, and then I feel like they do have two receivers going in the top 10, which I feel is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, this draft looks
I
pretty
think,
realistic to me. The only thing that jumps out as me is kind of far fetched is the idea that Jeremiah Love's going to go top 5, especially to the Giants.
yeah, no, I think,
I mean, they went through the whole thing with, oh, I can't remember who they drafted, but they had a really good back that they drafted a top 10 pick, and they let him walk in free agency, right? Then he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
I think
So
the Giants go receiver.
right, yeah, I could see him do well. I mean,
Because I don't
like
know
all
if
bad teams, they could go in a lot of different directions. I feel like the NFL's still like in the world where running backs are capped in terms of how high they're going to get picked.
and I think it's kind of surprising that there's no offensive lineman picked in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, especially the way the draft went last year, the number of tackles that went in the first round. Weren't there like 13 or 14 tackles in the first round? Something ridiculous.
I don't know about 13 tackles. I know there was like, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I think there was a lot. Now that
There
you
were a
mentioned,
lot. So with the volume of tackles taken last year, I could see like all the tackles kind of sliding up a few picks. Like I mean, to go the first 10 picks with no one picking a offensive tackle, I think that's one of the things that I would see changing, So maybe like either Fano or Fano and my Goa. The tackle from Utah and the tackle from Miami, I could see them both kind of sliding up like 5 picks each.
yeah, because if I'm looking at the Browns, I can kind of see them taking a tackle at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just really surprising because, like, I mean, I just remember how big of a prospect and how like athletic of a guy Caden Proctor is. To see him like 24, that seems wild to me, just based on like how college football went. But I mean, at the same time, I know Alabama, they struggled at offensive line this year, but like I think Caden, I mean, he even ran the ball a few times. Like he's kind of a freak show athlete. So to see him at 24, that's surprising. Like I could see him being the type of guy that like once they start doing like measurables, that he's going to rocket up the board.
See, look, they have Ty Simpson going at 21,
Mm-hmm.
Steelers, which kind of makes sense. I can kind of see that, but I feel like he could be a guy that could potentially sneak into the top 10, especially if he has really good measurables.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I think you're onto something with the quarterback thing. Like I could see Ty Simpson going up higher, and I can see one of those guys that were like Nussmeier or I can't remember the name you just said. Drew Aller, or one of those guys that was supposed to be like an elite guy. I could see one of them jumping into the bottom of the first round once you go through like interviews and testing.
Yeah, because if you get, especially as a quarterback, right, you can make an exception because it's pretty much a quarterback league nowadays. And
Well, I mean, I would argue that like if there's a guy that you think is developmental, and I think all quarterbacks are somewhat developmental, like you're better off taking them in the first round than taking them in the second round.
well, for sure,
To get
money
that
wise,
one more year of control, right?
it's so much cheaper to get the guy
That 5th-year option.
Yeah, it's all about the 5th-year option, and it gives the team
Right.
leverage. And if you think a guy can be above average and a winner, And you
Yeah,
take
well, I guess I would like any premier money position, right? Like, like guard, maybe not so much, but like
right.
defensive end, quarterback, a
But
corner, because
with
those
quarterbacks,
guys,
a little bit more different though, because like even an average, like above average quarterback still makes like 30 million a year. So
right?
like
Yeah, and
you,
you're more likely to keep them because you're the only one that can bid on them. That 5th year option, right? Because a lot of those guys, they'll sign their 5th year option, but then they sign their new deal during that kind of period of time when they're on that 5th year option. They're able to do a lot of cap stuff
yeah,
to make it really work out. So yeah, I mean, like if you think a guy is going to develop into your starter long term at quarterback, feel like you're better off taking them like pick 31, pick 32 than you would anywhere else in the draft, right? Because when you invest all that time into them, and then if they turn out as good as you think they're going to be,
because
then
yeah,
you get hammered.
look at the Jets, look at the Cardinals. Yeah, you look at them, right? They may be willing to make a trade with either Washington or the Browns. More likely the Browns, because I know they have pretty good draft capital. I think I could be getting it wrong, because the Browns may want to trade up to get like a Reese and that, or whoever that dynamic non-quarterback is, right? But if you're the Jets and you could still get your guy at like 7 or 6 and get another second round pick or whatever it's going to cost for a team to jump up that high to get whoever they want, like why wouldn't you do that? Like that's where I kind of feel like is going to happen, is like one of those teams would be like, oh well, let's just trade down a little bit, get another second round pick, whatever it's going to cost to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one downside, right, is that like that trade table is like it's like exponential, right? So I can see a lot of trades happening like around the Bengals area of the draft, because like say like you want Ty Simpson, right? Well, you're not to trade up to 2 to pick him is going to cost you like another first round pick more than it would cost you, like say if you traded to 9 and drafted him, or 10 and drafted him, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would make sense for maybe like the Cardinals or the Jets to trade down. To like
Yeah, but the problem is it's hard to trade down if there's not that quarterback there, right?
Well, what do you mean by that? Because I feel like,
well, because it's just so expensive to trade up to the number 2 pick that like teams won't
yeah, I
do
see
that to get like an edge rusher, say.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially in this draft, because I don't know, I find it really hard to believe that Bain is going to be there at 10. Reese, I mean, obviously, I think the number 1 pick is pretty much solidified. It's Mendoza, so I don't really have to worry about that. But I feel like Reese, Bain, maybe Styles too. I don't know. From what I understand, like people are in love with both of the linebackers from Ohio State.
Yeah,
Like, a lot of people like Bain, and those are the players that it would kind of make sense if you're already in the top 10 to trade up to get that dynamic player. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens.
Yeah, but I think if Bain, Downs, or Reese say drop, I don't think that those guys will be left at 10 when the Bengals pick. I think teams will trade up and get them.
Yeah. I don't think we'll come close to Bain, Reese. I don't know. Bailey at 2 seems kind of high based off of what I heard. Like he seems like,
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I haven't researched any of them, but like if he's the best edge rusher, then yeah, it makes sense to pick him too. Who else you gonna pick?
I think from what I understand, I feel like maybe the best overall defensive end, just looking at like all the qualities, I think Bain seems to be that guy. I don't see how you think that.
Yeah, I think like physically though, he's not gonna grade well, because like, there's already talk about how short his arms are.
Okay.
So depending on how.
That's why I think Reese goes to 2, is because
I've seen mocks where Reese is 2. I've seen him drafted that high, and I
'cause
didn't understand it because they
if you
call him a
just
linebacker, and I'm like, why would someone
well,
pick a
no,
linebacker at
if you
2?
just look at his just pass rush, like,
Yeah,
worth a second overall pick because it's like,
right. Yeah,
oh,
no, that makes sense. If he's like, I mean, in that case, I feel like they should put edge next to his name as opposed to a linebacker.
yeah. Yeah, I think that would make more sense. But, I mean, not to say he's not, like I think he's probably a pretty good linebacker, but I think where he's gonna make his money is getting to the quarterback, so I think that's how teams are gonna kinda look at it.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like that's pretty much gonna be the top 3 one way or another. Whether you flip Bain or Reese, I feel like that's how it's gonna go, and then I think from, like, 4 to 10, I think a lot of the players are there already. It's just gonna be just shuffled based off of, like, if there's trades and,
Yeah,
but I do suspect that there's gonna be a tackle in the top 10.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if 2 tackles end up in the top 10.
'Cause I could be
And
wrong,
in
but I feel
fact,
like
it wouldn't upset me if the Bengals drafted a tackle.
no, I mean, if they're thinking long term, I mean, that's the only thing that's gonna suck is that they're probably gonna leave out a player that they can probably plug in right away and actually get it a lot of time. I just feel
Well,
like
if you drafted a tackle in the first round, right, then
play
you
him at
could
guard,
start him at guard
right?
until like you need him at tackle.
I mean, I'm almost to the point where like because Mims was playing pretty damn well down the stretch, and it's just
Mhm.
like, okay, well, if you think Orlando Brown lost his step or whatever, flip him, move him to right, put Mims on the left side, do it now.
Yeah, I don't know much about that other than if you the offensive lineman talk, like that's like the hardest thing to do is to flip sides.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, I mean, Mims, from what I could tell, is that he really likes Reisner, and he seemed to play his best next to Reisner, and it's just like, why mess that up? Like,
Yeah,
this
I
is
don't know why
probably,
you wouldn't bring Reisner back because it,
no,
it
I'm right
seems
there with
like
you. Bring him back.
he's like right in the neighborhood of where the Bengals like to spend for a guard, right?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously they got him super cheap last year and he worked out well. I don't know why anything would change
yeah.
other
It's
than
like
he
he's
would get
gonna
a
get,
little bit of a raise. But
yeah. He for sure should get a raise. I mean, why
but
not?
I mean,
Earned
yeah,
it.
he'd be worth it, right? I mean, but I don't think he's going to get premier money. I
No,
mean, like
I think he
he'll get
understands.
what they like to spend for a free agent guard, right? Which is like in the 5 to 7 range. Bengals love paying that amount.
And I feel like for the Chiefs, the player that makes the most sense. Now, obviously, if the draft went this way, then yeah, maybe they do take Styles, but I feel like Love makes the most sense for the Chiefs. Is
Mhm.
he seems to be a really good running back, and I feel like Chiefs fans for like the last 2 or 3 years have been like begging the Chiefs to do something at running back. So that would make
Mhm.
so much sense. I think he stays in the top 10. And
Yeah.
maybe the Chiefs are in a position where they trade down.
I don't know. I thought the Chiefs' offensive line has been an issue. No? Haven't they had all kinds of issues on their offensive line?
Yeah, maybe they do go for a tackle
I mean,
or
it seems like if I saw this draft board, it seems like if I was them,
I can
I'd
see
have a hard time passing on the best tackle in the draft.
yeah, especially if you put him at right tackle, which I think would make a lot of sense. I think they solidified their left tackle with the dude from Ohio State. Because he seemed like he was playing really well, and I think there was like some personal issues,
Hmm.
like he had to stop playing. But I think he eventually came back, so I think they feel pretty good at left tackle. But I know right tackle is probably an issue. So, and I think aren't both the tackles right tackles that are rated high? I think could be wrong.
That I don't know.
So yeah, maybe tackle makes a lot of sense for them as well. But I also feel like, same thing with Burrow, and thing with Mahomes is like one of the easiest ways to take pressure off a quarterback is having a solid run game, especially those teams that throw a lot. So I don't know. Love makes a lot of sense to me for the Chiefs. I don't know. I think that's just me coping too. Is just like, okay, how are we going to make this mentally Downs fall to to the Bengals to where it's like a no brainer for him to get picked at 10? But I feel like if you just go off of talent and all the things that we mentioned about him, he should be picked early. But
Yeah.
hopefully the trend stays the same, and a lot of teams don't value safety as much as other positions. Plus, I think I don't know about Bailey that high, but I could also see maybe a receiver going in the top 4 somewhere or top 5. You have both of the Ohio State linebackers slash defensive ends,
Hmm.
and then I guess really, yeah, if they have another quarterback somehow jump in the top 10, or I guess the top 9, one way or another, then I feel like there's a pretty strong possibility that Downs is going to fall to the Bengals. Or at least I'm hoping. I don't know if the Titans need a safety that bad over other positions, but yeah, I think with the top 5, you always pick talent over need. It feels like most of the time. And then, of course, if there's like a quarterback heavy draft, then you always trade out if you don't need a quarterback to get those extra picks, because teams are willing to spend whatever it takes to get that high quality quarterback in terms of draft capital. So yeah, this overall board doesn't look too far off. I think a lot of the players are going to be picked in the top 10 that they have there, just maybe rearranged a little bit. I wouldn't say like Peter Woods is like, I would say he's maybe my 4th pick, because to me it would be Downs, Bain, but I don't think Bain is realistic if he's the guy that we think he is.
Yeah, but he could drop, because I don't, like I said, I think he's going to measure like there. If you're a team that really is into measurables, I think that his arm length is going to throw teams off. So I could see him sliding because of that, but I don't know if he'll slide all the way to 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you got like the tape matters, right? And he just had such a dominant college playoff.
Right.
And just like
Yeah.
you put on the film, it's like you don't have to overthink it too much. Like, I get measurements are important, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's so good about the playoff now in college going to the NFL, right? Like you see guys playing against like the top teams, right? Whereas in the bowl system, right, you don't get to see guys play like multiple games in a row against guys that are going to be in the NFL kind of level of player. So
can you scroll down a little bit? I just want to see what the okay. So the McCoy, Banks, Anu. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea. Because, like, I guess the worst case scenario for me would be none of the top 4 people. I would hope the Bengals could potentially get the 10 are not there and they trade down, because that would suck. But at the end of the day, like, I would be okay with Woods. He wouldn't necessarily be my number 1 pick. I'm really hoping Caleb Downs is going to be there at some point, or when it comes to 10. It's going to be close. I feel like 8 through 12 for sure he's going to get picked in that range. I mean, it'd be silly to let Downs go past, unless there is for some reason like a Baines or Reese, which I just don't see that happening. I guess it's possible. I guess that would be it. If Reese or Baines is there, I don't know. And I'm kind of getting sold on Styles too. Like, he seems like a really solid linebacker.
Yeah, either that or an edge. I mean,
yeah, and I guess that other guy that was picked at 2, like I was hearing his name a lot for 10, but apparently PFF has him rated really highly. is it Bailey, the defensive end out of Texas Tech? Yeah, I think he's another one of those like dynamic, has a lot of ability type defensive end. I feel like he's like one of those ones that are kind of like
Yeah.
like
No,
a
it'd be
TJ Watt.
interesting here though, because I know when we mocked, 2 receivers from the Bearcats got picked, and I know at least one receiver from the Bearcats like signed with like an SEC team. Like I feel like one of the guys that they had listed is going to play for maybe it's Mizzou next year. So I wonder how many like draftable college guys are in like this mock that we did that are actually just going to go play college another year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think actually I'm gonna look this up real quick.
I was thinking about that because we were talking about Texas Tech, because I know like they were really active in like NIL money for their defensive players last year. And like you see like, is it 3 of them in the first round?
Wait, what? It says NFL Combine. The 2026 NFL Combine will take place from February 23rd to March 2nd. So that's
Next week.
okay. What? That seems kind of soon,
Yeah.
but a lot's going to change based off of some of those numbers. So I think that will at least help solidify the first round. Have a better idea of like who's actually going to be there potentially versus some of the things that seem far-fetched.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow, that's great. I'm glad it's sooner than later. So wait, when's the draft then? I always thought the draft was in
usually
April.
in April, right?
Feels like it's gonna be earlier than that. Oh. Yeah, no, it's April 23rd. So that's, I feel like the combine this year is kind of early, but it also makes sense. Like you do need a little bit of time. You can't be like, can't have the combine and then the draft a few weeks later. Cause I think what happens is they get all the official measurements and then they have to do all those interviews and all the side stuff to kind of, I guess, really solidify their draft boards and what they're looking at. So I think it takes a bit of time to like talk to all the different coaches and get all the film, do all that stuff. But yeah, B plus, not bad. I'm happy.
Killing it. Probably could have gotten an A if we would have picked that center in the 3rd round.
Hey, I think we were close to doing it.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just like I don't see the Bengals drafting a center in the 3rd round.
But if it's a center that can play guard too, that makes
I can see him picking a guard in the 3rd round, but not a center. So, unless Sam Hecht is a guard who also plays center, then
wow, she's gonna get picked at the end of the first.
yeah, the best center prospect of all time, and you passed on him.
Yeah, we could have had him in the 3rd. Shucks.
Oh well.
All right. Well, was there anything you wanted to add?
No.
All right. Well, I guess we officially ended our first mock at a B plus. I mean, obviously things are going to change, but you know, based off of what we believe that the Bengals needed and how PFF graded, I'm happy with this draft. I'm sure we'll have a better idea as time goes on, as we actually start watching more of the highlights and stuff. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it shows now versus, you know, beginning of April when things really become official. Because I do remember PFF seemed to have a lot of like late updates, because it was like once April hit, they're like, okay, now we can show you guys the real stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of obligated not to put it out early. It felt like.
Yeah. Like the April got way different.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, that was interesting. All right. we'll see if that happens again this year. Which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of adjustments, especially after the combine. I think you always want to get the official measurements. So, but yeah, all right. I guess we'll call it a night. Peace.